So what's up, guys? Today you're going to get to hear Mike share his story. He just recently finished his challenge. And one thing I really noticed about Mike throughout this challenge is he was a numbers guy. He really liked to have everything laid out and a plan set before him. And I really think that led to some great successes for him. Another thing that made him really successful was that he really, about halfway through, he really wanted to push his limits as far as what he could do nutrition-wise to reach his goals. Well, Mike, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. As we were just talking about, I've known you for several years now. I think we're going on 5. And we were just actually talking about something that I know you well for, and that's your great sense of humor. You're a guy of high values, a family man, a motorcycle enthusiast. Could you give people just a quick intro on who you are?
Yeah, I'm Mike Beasley. I'm 62 years old. And I've been retired for about 2 years now. I live close by here and in an apartment building with a fantastic gym. And it's been terrific to go from working in a small gym to our own home gym, and having you come in, 5 days a week into there has been fantastic.
Oh, fantastic. Good. During the time that I've known you, we've trained together. We have, through different things, through COVID, through this time in your life where you've gone from being an executive to being retired. And, that being said, what attracted you to go on this journey and do this 12-week challenge?
Like I said, I've been working with you for about 5 years, and I feel so much stronger for that whole period. I've gone from a guy who sat behind a desk looking at a computer every day, knowing that I needed to exercise, but always having excuses, don't have time, whatever else you find an excuse to have. And then I think came to a private gym through my wife. She got some deal with free sessions and said, you need to come along too. And so I sort of begrudgingly went along and said, I probably need this, but I'm not going to like it. And I liked it a lot more than I thought I would. And then that evolved into moving into a place where we had our own gym. And so, 5 years of doing that, I was a lot stronger and felt healthier, but I still wasn't looking like I wanted to look. And it's frustrating because you think I'd increased from 2 days to 3 days to 5 days a week working out for an hour a day. That should be it. That should be enough. I mean, why do I not look the shape that I want to look? And so, I mean, that was kind of where we started at.
In the beginning, you knew you had to exercise, you knew you wanted to kind of exercise, but starting that out, you didn't think you'd like it. And you learned that you actually kind of liked it. That progressed from there. And, you shared something there about kind of time commitment. You saw your time commitment increase with the physical activity, but you still weren't getting what you want. So it sounds like that kind of attracted you into, the challenge.
I think there's an old adage that says that when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Yeah. And so you can know something, you can hear something, but until you're really ready to receive that message and everything comes together at the right moment. And for me, I think I knew that this exercise alone wasn't enough. It wasn't getting me everywhere that I wanted to be. I didn't really know much about nutrition other than what you see on the TV or Weight Watchers ads or these different programs that you can sign up to. That would be an independent program from my fitness, from my workout schedule. And I didn't ever feel that those are very personalized. It's a little bit of a sort of big box approach. It's a canned, take this, the food will arrive, you eat it, and you'll be fine. So when you offered this nutrition program, and let me say, in the past, when I've been unhappy with my weight, I'll just do a low carb diet, and in 10 days, I'll lose 10 pounds. Crazy kind of weight loss. But that first 10 is fairly easy to lose. And I'd be like semi-happy. I pat myself on the back. I've done well. I've lost 10 pounds. But then if I looked at my weight a month later, I was back to where I was before. And so I would yo-yo, like you hear a lot of people doing. And so, when you came up with this concept of the fitness, of the nutrition challenge to do it, it sort of made sense to me that coupling the continue the workout schedule, but something to do with nutrition, and learning that nutrition meant a lot more than just cutting carbs, right? So I think my approach in the past, I was sure that was the right answer. But I didn't have anybody to tell me that, to guide me that. I just had results that showed that I could take some fast weight off. but it wasn't sustainable, obviously.
Yes, that's very important. And so with this challenge, I think you brought up something there that was very valuable, right? That this challenge was designed to focus on sustainability and not focus on this kind of big box approach that these other kind of nutrition plans, like you shared, Weight Watchers, or even keto, completely restricting carbs. And I think part of that really comes from this being you, right? These are your decisions you're going to make, and yeah, we're going to build that skill set and that knowledge base with nutrition. But these choices, these things that you are going to do, you're going to decide to do them, and they're going to be a sustainable part of your life going forward.
Yeah, but I don't think I could just create the program on my own. So if I knew really that the other big box programs, as you said, weren't perhaps the right solution for me, I didn't know what the right solution was really, other than my default of cutting carbs again. So when you started to teach me around the importance of looking at the calories and saying, an equation of how many calories in, how many calories burnt, and the simple math on that sort of made sense to me. Like, okay, if I can count the calories that I'm putting in, and we're still working out and I'm burning more, I'll lose weight. And I'll lose it in a more healthy way than just taking off the low-hanging fruit and then going back up again.
So it sounds like a big value too out of the challenge was being able to learn what was right for you and being able to learn that equation. I know that you shared it here, but I know this about you, that the calculation and equation and the numbers are an important piece for you. Yeah. So you tell us a little about that, how that progressed over your challenge.
Yeah, I mean, the app that we had to use was fantastic because that helped sort of put your feelings into real numbers. And I like, if I can look at that, it makes more sense to me. And in terms of numbers, I mean, I even put my own spreadsheet together stating what my goal would be. And my goal going into this, I started this at 220 pounds. 220 pounds, I'm 6'1", 6'2". My goal was to lose 20 pounds in 90 days with a stretch goal of losing 30 pounds. A little bit of a finger in the air. I didn't really have a particularly scientific way to do that, but I just felt like I would be happier if I could lose 20 to 30 pounds and then sustain it. That was sort of my goal going into this. So there comes a spreadsheet with a nice straight line graph starting at 220 down to 190. And I knew it wouldn't be a straight line loss, but I wanted to try to do something close to that so that it would be at a nice, steady, healthy pace to lose the weight. And so, every day I would weigh myself, chart it, put it in there. And I think that visibility was one piece of my success there. The accountability of then going over those results once a week with you is another huge part of it. And not only the accountability of sending it to a stranger, but to doing it to somebody that I meet with every day. And I think that's a key to this as well, is that relationship that we've developed through training extended into the nutrition side where, I felt that accountability to you as well as to myself.
There was a big value in this challenge with accountability to me, but also then accountability with yourself. And, some of the hard numbers also really helped you really focus on, I did this is what I got. These are the numbers I put in. Boom, this is what I get out of that. You also shared a little bit about, where you were in the beginning and, your goals. So after the challenge, we looked at the results. What were your results for the challenge?
So after 90 days, well, I hit the 20 pound loss probably on 60 days. Yeah. So I thought, well, I'm on exactly the right pace I'd like, another 30 days. And sure enough, down from 220 to 190. Fantastic results, really. Maybe I should have set 40 pounds, or whatever. But 30 pounds seemed like a safe weight to lose, but maybe not where I want to end up. I think now I've reached that, I can continue, and I'll share that we're almost 30 days after the end of the challenge. So I weighed myself today. Thought we're going to chat. Let me check my facts here. Right. And I'm down a few ounces from where we ended the challenge on. So I haven't lost a great deal more in the 30 days, but I haven't gone up at all. I mean, I've been able to maintain. So I've learned myself what food and what exercise, what I need to do to keep some kind of equilibrium, some kind of balance there. So I'm delighted that 30 days later, instead of yo-yoing, I'm where I want to be. And I also have the tools that if I want to go on and lose some more and maintain that, I feel confident that I can do that as well.
Not only to get the result you wanted, within that 12-week period, within that time period, But after that, it's helped you also build the skill sets and have the tools to be able to do what you want from here on out, right? And so how has it been maintaining over that time? Have you found it easier? Have you found it harder? How has it been maintaining since the challenge?
I thought at first I would continue using the app because that would keep me the discipline. But in 90 days, I think I'd already taught myself exactly what I need to do, sort of nutrition-wise, balanced diets, more vegetables, less carbs, just some fundamental things that I haven't used the app in 30 days. And yet I've been able to maintain exactly where I want to be. So I haven't created some lifestyle that's difficult to maintain. I don't have to plot everything anymore. I've just trained myself, or you've trained me, to know what types of food. And I have a very varied diet. It's not like I'm stuck eating something out of a box that arrives every week at my door. I have a very varied diet, but now I've sort of retrained my 62 years to eat slightly differently, but with great pleasure.
With great pleasure. So it sounds like even during this time after the challenge, you have been able to enjoy yourself, and it's not this time of just restriction and getting rid of things. Is that right?
It's true. I've got a varied diet, but I enjoy wine, and that's been my one guilty pleasure. I cut back on that during the challenge, and that was a big factor, I think, in reducing the weight. I think we know in our heart what we need to do, but we're not willing to do all of the steps. We'll do 3 of the 4, but not all 4 type thing. But now I enjoy a glass of wine every night, and here I am 30 days later, just fine. So it's moderation, it's balance, and it's the desire not to go back to where you were.
Yes, don't want to step back. And you shared something there, moderation and balance. And I think that's such a key thing when it comes to sustainability and making this a part of your life and the choices that you make, right? The things that you want to do. And that's why I think it makes it so much more successful within the challenge and then after the challenge than these kind of big box approaches or these, dieting approaches. It stops the yo-yoing. It builds you the ability to game the system and be able to accomplish whatever you want.
Some other goals I'd like to share, though, or some of the results I'd like to share, actually, because I focus just on weight loss, because that's maybe what people first think about when they think, that's perhaps their goal is to lose some weight. But, at the same time, I go to the doctors once a year and have my annual checkup, and I get my annual lecturing on, you're pre-diabetic, you need to lose some weight, your blood pressure is a little high, your cholesterol's a little high. And I make my commitment, then I'll do better. And, a year later, I go back with the same tail between my legs and get the same lecture. And so this year, my annual physical fell by coincidence right in the last week of the challenge. So I was actually looking forward to my doctor's visit for the first time in many years.
Seeing some more numbers.
More numbers, but I'd seen this doctor since 2015 and heard the same speech for quite a few years. But this year I was actually looking forward to going in, had my blood work done, went in to see him. And his face said it all when I walked in. He was just so intrigued about what has changed in my life that the numbers would look so different. So without saying specifics, my blood, every measurement they can take, which is a lot, it's 60, 80 different things that they check for in your blood, right? And every single one had a green check mark next to it. Everyone. That to me was more validation than the weight loss, because it's not just weight now, it's looking at all those other factors inside your body. And so blood pressure down, cholesterol went from about 210 to 130, 210 to 130 in that period of time. So, just unbelievable results without taking pills or any, get rich quick, any quick sort of fix kind of system. But by doing it the right way. And people have asked me, they said, well, what did you do? In today's world where people are taking Ozempic and everything else, you're almost anticipating some kind of pill. I took a pill to get there. But I'm proud to tell them, I did it the old-fashioned way by nutrition and by exercise.
That's awesome. Yes, I'm a big believer, obviously, in nutrition and exercise. It's a super important piece. And, we've chatted about this a little bit before, but, sitting on a chair with those 2 legs of nutrition and exercise, you shared that there was a third piece there, a third leg that you bring into the equation. It makes it a lot easier to sit. Could you share a little about that with us?
That's another nice visual to think of a 3-legged stool. And so the first leg, exercise, I think everybody gets that they know they need to exercise more. The nutrition is becoming much more important. People are starting to accept that nutrition is a bigger piece of their overall health and fitness as well. But the third leg of the stool is really the mindset behind those other two. And until you get the mindset right, having just those other two things, I don't think it'll work. I think you've got to have your head in the right place, that you're fed up of being fed up, and that you're willing to make the changes and have the discipline that you need to make it happen. And so I think for me, it was having all of those three things align that haven't aligned before. And so, okay, I'd already bought into the exercise. I'm good with that. You introduced me to nutrition, which I sort of knew I needed, but I didn't really have a solution to. And then having the drive and the willingness to actually do it and stick with it, and the accountability to do it on a day-by-day basis and stick with it over the 90-day period, which is also, I think, an important piece. It's not, if you go into it, well, I can do it for 30 days. I can do anything for 30 days. It's not enough. Your habits aren't going to change enough in 30 days to stay with you for 30 more days or even, a year. Right. So I think at first when you approached me with a 90-day program, I was a little skeptical. It's like, that seems too long, which proves to me I had my head in the wrong place probably, right? So because 90 days was exactly the right amount of time. That in the last 30 days, I felt like I was not coasting, but I was already, the habits were already there.
It sounds like it was part of your routine.
It was part of my daily routine. It was part of my shopping for the right foods and having the right things available in your house. By the 90-day mark, I said, I've got this. I'm where I want to be. My results are fantastic. My blood work is great. I mean, it's a home run, really.
A home run. That's what I love to hear. Yeah, definitely having that amount of time where you can't just kind of say, okay, I can do anything for 30 days or I can do anything for 2 weeks. Going beyond that amount of time allows you to make it part of your life, right? A sustainable part of your life and something that you're going to do. And that was a really important piece for me when designing this challenge and implementing this kind of thing for people, is because I've seen, in my world, the yo-yoing and watching people go from, they go on a diet, they lose some weight here and they're kind of happy with that, but then they bounce back and even gain some more after that, and so going back to that mindset piece and how important it was. It's great to hear you kind of talk about that, because that was a very important piece in designing this, and to see the effects of that is great.
I mean, you talked a lot at first about having a why you're doing it, and that's all builds into the mindset of doing it. If you're already there, then you probably know your why straight away. If you're not mentally there, the why definitely helps solidify that in your mind why you are doing it. And so holding that in front of you, I'm a big fan of putting pictures on the fridge, or looking in your phone at pictures of yourself at the start of the challenge, going, "Ooh, I don't like it." Most people, when they look at themselves, will be critical, and it was a great reminder to myself. I don't want to look like that. I don't want to feel like I feel, and so I think I already had a few whys in there, but that all builds that mental picture.
Yes. So building that mental picture, I think, is really important. And, in doing these, you see a lot of guys they're all in different places. You kind of shared that a little bit there. Sometimes people may have a why, or they have multiple whys kind of already there, but also refocusing, getting their focus on that, down to what that why is, and focusing on it on a daily basis. Sounds like that helps your routine and helps you, build that into an everyday piece of, I'm looking at this. This is what I'm focused on. This is what I'm doing to do this.
And I think people will find excuses if they want to. And so, we went through Thanksgiving. We went through Christmas. I've traveled internationally. All of these could be great excuses for back, sliding backwards and having to go to a party, having to eat airplane food, or whatever excuse you want to have, you can have. And yet, once your head is in the right place, those aren't really huge obstacles. I went to a birthday, I eat a piece of cake. No, I ate a bite of cake, actually. I didn't even have to eat the piece.
You told me it was a bite.
Yeah. It's all mental. The physical part is actually fairly easy if the mental part's right. Then you're just following instructions and directions that your head's giving you.
Exactly. The mindset really governs all in that respect, right? So Mike, during the challenge, the competition was tough. it came down to a photo finish, really. And so I know you shared about, what you accomplished during the challenge. You came in second in the challenge. How did that feel?
Yeah, you know me well enough to know I'm a pretty goal oriented and driven to win kind of guy. But again, if I go back to what my goal was, 20 to 30 pounds, and I remember when you told me I came in second, I was probably more surprised than anything else, because I just thought, who else could achieve this? It felt like I'd achieved every goal that I could possibly think. But it didn't bother me that I came in second in the slightest. You thought it would. You thought this is going to be a tough thing to share. But here's me sitting 30 pounds lighter. All of my doctor's results are fantastic. I didn't care whether I came in first or second. I'd won. I mean, I'd won the game of life here. So, some challenge, yes, it's good. Maybe it helps push you along a little bit. But that isn't really what pushed me along. It wasn't to win. It was to get those results. That's what pushed me along.
And it was hard for me to tell. It was hard for me to tell you that. It was tough for me to, Mike, you got second. But
no, everybody that I know and they see me, they immediately, wow, you look great. What have you done? And so that's validation. I mean, my biggest challenge now is I'm having to shop for new clothes. Nothing fits. That's great.
That's awesome. It sounds like you got some great results. You're really, really happy with it.
I'm happy with it, and I'm confident that I can sustain it.
Yes. We talked about that a lot during the challenge, sustainability and the importance of that. And I know that was a very important thing to you. And so I'm glad that you feel that way now that you've completed the challenge and we're 30 days beyond it. So very, very good.
I mean, I weigh myself still every day. It takes 2 seconds in the morning. That's not a big deal. That's kind of a check-in. It's a mental reminder either, cut back on something, or no, I'm still good. So your weight's going to vary from day to day for sure. So I don't get too kind of crazy about that. But I think that's just a quick, easy check with it, into your routine to just double check it once a day.
I'm glad you're still doing that. I think that, when I've seen guys go through this challenge, and I see that the guys that are more diligent about weighing themselves daily and making sure they track every single thing. It's all about doing those things, especially in the beginning. I think it helps you focus yourself on, what you want to do and what you're going to accomplish. I also correlate that with seeing results of different guys, the guys that really are focused on what they want to do by, and they're checking these things in daily and doing these things in, throughout the day, really, not, that they get better results out of that challenge. And you also shared something earlier I kind of want to go back to, is that in the beginning, in the start of the challenge, and the whole challenge actually, you were tracking all of your nutrition, right? You're still weighing, which you were doing daily there, but also now you're not really tracking your nutrition anymore. So it sounds like you've really built that skill set of nutrition and built your knowledge base around that to be able to make it a lot easier, right? It's not this difficult task that you have to devote time to every day, but it's something that you can just do.
Yeah, if you asked me how many calories I had yesterday, I'd probably know what the answer is within 100 calories pretty well without having to use the app anymore to do it, which is great. I think that's what you want to get to, is being trained to know your own body, know what works and doesn't work, and be able to do it intuitively instead of through a regimen. And
to know what you're doing. You shared to know what you're doing, right? And if you simply know what you're doing, it becomes so much easier to then you know what you get out of it. It becomes so much easier to say, okay, I can do this and get this, right?
Everybody's going to be different. Everybody's body is different. Everybody's goals are different, right? But I think the beauty of your program is that it's the same person that you're working with on both the fitness, the health, as well as the nutrition piece. And that's what's different about your program than other people's. You're able to offer that full customized service to that individual. You know me well. You're better equipped, I would say, to advise me on different things than somebody who doesn't know me at all. And so I think it's that personalized approach that you're able to offer through knowing somebody. That's a huge difference between that and just buying a book, watching a video, buying a meal program. These are people grasping at what they want to get to, but they don't have the tools necessarily to actually achieve it systematically.
Well, it sounds like you found value in that personalized approach to coaching and accountability through this challenge. Speaking of other relationships, how was it in the challenge with your relationships with some of the other guys going through it with you?
You know, I didn't know any of the other people. I knew one person who lives in my building, but I didn't know him well. And so I enjoyed the camaraderie, the feeling that you've got a shared goal. I never felt it was competitive at all, though. I know maybe you were thinking it was competitive, but I don't think the other guys were sort of eyeing up the other people and saying, oh, you know, I can do better than this guy. We were all competing with ourselves more than with someone else. But having the knowledge that other people are going through it with you, that sort of helps. I think these are all little building blocks towards the mental stage that you've got to be in and then stay in. And when times are tough, you know you're not the only one that's struggling with it. When it's Christmas dinner, and you're not the only one that's faced with those choices that day, you've got a team of people around you as well. You
know, I wanted that element of competition there in a little bit, but really you said it perfectly. You know, you're competing with yourself.
It's an opportunity as well to sort of share with some like-minded people who also have the same goals around feeling better and feeling healthier. And, you know, there's lots of team sports you can do. I mean, you setting up pickleball or hiking or things like that are just, you know, other ways to introduce exercise, but other ways to build a team.
Well, Mike, thank you so much for coming on. I think that people are going to get a lot of value out of hearing your story, your experience with the challenge, and really hear the great results that you were able to accomplish through this process. Thank you so much.
Well, no, thank you, Josh. I mean, I owe a lot to you, my health, my fitness to you, and I'd highly recommend this to anybody, honestly. But you've got to be honest with yourself that you're willing to do it. You've got to have those three things. You've got to have, you know, you've got to have the exercise and stick with it. You got to have the nutrition and stick with it, and you got to have the mindset and stick with it.
So if you want to see real results from real people, go check out our client testimonials on YouTube. If you're interested in seeing more information about what you can do daily to help you get closer to your goals, follow us on socials. The links are in the description. If you'd like to learn more about the challenge, come to our website at justmovelife.com. If you ever have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'm always on to help.